Thank you, Carrie, for the introduction. Happy Friday, everyone. For those who don't know me, my name is Doug Rosberg. It's been a few months since the last time I was here, and for those wondering if I was kidnapped by a Russian bride who was pampering me hand and foot, unfortunately that wasn't the case. My schedule has been pretty crazy on Fridays, but I'm so glad to be back. And as Carrie said, with 2019 coming to an end and 2020 happening, this is a great time to reflect on the good, the bad, and the ugly. And I'm a big believer in self-improvement, and I think you guys all are as well, because you guys wouldn't be here at Toastmasters if that wasn't the case. And I want to admit that I haven't been the best member of Toastmasters. I've made excuses, and I think we can all agree that sometimes we make excuses. And as I always like to say, excuses are like armpits. We all have them, and they all stink. And with Toastmasters, this is my frog, right? I want to eat the frog. And I don't know if you've ever heard of that. It's taking on your biggest obstacle, and then everything else is going to be at ease after you eat your frog. And I'm a firm believer in that public speaking. If you can do public speaking, you can truly do anything. I'm sure you guys have all heard the Seinfeld bit where he says the two biggest fears are dying and public speaking, with public speaking being number one. So the poor guy that's behind here giving the eulogy, he would rather actually be in the casket. It's just crazy. But I mean, we can all relate, right? Where you're thinking of a million things, whether that you don't want to speak up, and I find that so to be true. But I think that being able to take on your first obstacle, but then also, there's no shortcuts in life, right? We have to be people of action. I'm guilty of it as well, where I'll read a business book and I think, okay, after I read that business book, I'm gonna be the next CEO of Google, right? No, you have to apply what you read in that book. I love the Get Rich Quick, right? You watch an infomercial and it's a diet pill, you take it, you're gonna lose 150 pounds, right? Or, as far as my personal favorite is that if I wanna win the lottery, I just have to think, visualize, and then that lottery ticket is gonna show up in my thing. Unfortunately, that doesn't work. There's no shortcuts. People of action, you have to continue to improve in your craft. I recently read a book called Outliers. I don't know if you guys have ever read that book. It is fascinating. And they say to perfect your craft, you have to work over 10,000 hours. Well, this is a 5 to 7 minute speech. I'm gonna have to be up here for the next 10,000 hours. So guys, I'm gonna be well into 2020, 2021, so bear with me here, guys. But no, it's really that you have to perfect your craft, and you've gotta get out of your comfort zone as well. And to grow, getting out of that comfort zone is being bold. Fortune favors the bold. And I was just recently had an opportunity that my boss was in town, came from Boston because we were going to teach a class, or he was going to teach a class at KU Business School, right? And I had no expectations. I didn't have an opportunity to talk, or I wasn't supposed to, but they gave a presentation, and he's in his 60s, right? And I'm in my 30s, right? So I'm a little more fresher into that college space than he is, so I'm a little more relatable. And after he got done speaking, he had an opportunity where I could have spoke as well. And again, it wasn't expected for me to do it, but I chickened out. I was like, you know what? I want to take the path of least resistance. I don't want to step out and be bold. And I instantly regretted it as well, because again, as I mentioned, I wasn't expected to, but again, if I would have said something, I would have stood out. And you've got to stand out. You have to be a people of action, as I say. That's kind of the moral of the story, is be people of action and do it, and stop making excuses. And I had an opportunity just the other week where we're having a big presentation come out in Boston here next week, and my boss asked for volunteers to give a 5 to 10 minute testimonial on how 2019 worked, and he said that this would be a good opportunity to shine. Well, no one volunteered, and I was like, you know what, rip the Band-Aid off and volunteer. And you know what, it's out of my comfort zone, but he emailed me back instantly to say, thank you, you're the only one to volunteer. So again, as I mentioned, fortune favors the bold. You have to get out of your comfort zone. You really do. And as far as examples for all of us to continue to get out of our comfort zone, I mean, for work, for example, how many times has someone gave a long presentation or a speech and then they ask any questions and it's just crickets, right? Not that the speech wasn't great, but people are nervous to speak up. They don't want to feel silly in front of their work peers. But no, you have to. You need to say something because you know what? That shows that you are a leader and that you're thinking outside the box and that you want to be recognized. And your boss is going to appreciate that as well. And the person that's giving the speech, they're going to love it as well. Because how often have we sat up here at a work presentation and then you're like, any questions? And it's crooked and you're just dying at the altar, right? I mean, so again, not only are you going to help yourself being outside the box, but then you're going to also help that person and create that dialogue as well. And excellence, it takes repetition, continuing repetition. And I always like to equate that to when you work out, right? You haven't worked out in 6 months or you haven't worked out in a year and you start lifting. The first day you start lifting and you're incredibly sore, right? And you're making excuses, I'm good, I don't have to come back. But then you come back that third or that fourth day and your muscles aren't as sore as anymore, right? And then you're looking good, you're feeling good, and in no time you're crushing weights like Arnold Schwarzenegger, right? And so just continue to build that repetition. And in closing, if you follow these rules of being able to step out of your comfort zone, eat your frog first, tackle your biggest obstacle, repeat that repetition, who knows, next time you might be the governor of California. Thank you very much. Appreciate your time.